Speedrunning is very difficult, and unfortunately, I'm not the best at video games. But I've always wanted to have a cool speedrun achievement so I can flex on everyone. So I decided to dedicate an entire week of my life trying to achieve this goal. I've always loved Mario games, and I've actually speedrun Mario Odyssey for a while, but that game is way too popular to actually be able to place top 100 in the world. So I decided to learn how to speedrun a new game I've never speedrun before, and try to become a top 100 speedrunner in just 1 week. And the game I chose was none other than Now, Super Mario 3D World stands out as a hidden gem among speedrunning, but it's often overlooked despite its remarkable potential. I found it astonishing that only 255 people have embraced the challenge of speedrunning this game, even though it beholds some insane strats like this one. Witnessing this, I wanted to figure out why this game is so unpopular compared to other games like Mario 64 and Mario Odyssey, which have thousands of speedruns. Motivated by my curiosity, I gave myself 1 week to learn the ins and outs of Super Mario 3D World over the course of a week, and my ultimate objective was to achieve a speedrun time that would position me within the top 100 players worldwide. Dang it, bro, my Wi-Fi never works. Well, let me tell you about today's partner, Mint Mobile. You might already know Mint Mobile if you've seen those funny ads from Ryan Reynolds.
Hey there, it's Ryan Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile. Enticing, right?
But let me quickly tell you how awesome their service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless data for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Click the link in my description if you're interested in the best value in wireless. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. I personally switched to Mint Mobile, and it's the exact same as any other wireless, except it's way cheaper. I can do the exact same things as I want to on my phone as I used to, for just a cheaper price. Switching to Mint is super easy thanks to their digital eSIM cards. You can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. It only takes about 15 minutes to switch, and Mint has great customer service if you need help. And now, as a special limited offer, you can get their unlimited plan, which is normally $30 a month, for just $15 a month. That's 50% off of an already super low price. Make sure to click my link in the description to get started. I knew this task was going to be very difficult to achieve, as 1 week really is not a lot of time to learn an entire speedrun and get good enough to place in the top 100, but I was ready for the challenge. Now, the interesting thing about 3D World compared to other 3D Mario games is that it is very linear in its nature, meaning there aren't really any open world aspects to it. It's all just very direct. You play through all 8 worlds going from one level to the next, so you kind of just follow along the path, and there's really no ways to stray off the path like there are in a lot of other games. Anyways, a very important part of this game is the green stars. There are 3 green stars scattered across every level in this game, and you need 170 stars in order to unlock the final boss of the game. So, we need to be collecting green stars throughout the levels, so that we have enough at the end. With all that knowledge of the game, it was time to start learning the run. On this first day, I decided just to learn how to speedrun the game. So I kind of hopped right into it, knowing nothing and hoping I could just learn as I go. I found this spliced beginner speedrun, and I used it to help me learn. The way I would learn was this. I would watch a level from the speedrun, then I would play that level myself 1 or 2 times until I felt like I had a relatively decent grasp of the level. Then I would repeat the process for every single level until I'd beaten the entire game. So I started the video and watched the very first level, Super Bell Hill. And after watching the first level, it honestly didn't appear too difficult. But then, I tried it myself and realized how bad I actually am at the game. This is really good. Oh my goodness, I'm good at this game. And I had only ever played the game casually, so there were a lot of new mechanics I had to learn. Like vectoring, cat momentum, utilizing this motion control pointer, rolling, cat stalling, and absolutely abusing the heck out of Peach to break the game. Now, since the community is really small for this game, There are not really any well put together guides on how to actually learn these techniques and utilize them in a speedrun. So I kind of just had to watch the beginner's run and mess around myself for a while until I could actually learn these strats. I'll explain these mechanics a bit later in the video when I actually do my first speedrun. But World 1 is really short because you do 1-1, and then in 1-2 there is a secret pipe that skips the rest of World 1 and takes you directly to World 2. I should probably mention something else now, which is the fact that there are 4 different characters in this game: Mario, Peach, Toad, and Luigi, and they each have their different uses in the run. Well, every single character except Mario, which I find hilarious because it's Super Mario 3D World and we don't even use him at all. Anyways, Toad is good because he's extremely hecking fast. Peach is good because she can float in the air for a little while, which allows for some cool skips later on. And Luigi is really good because he can jump high, which is useful for a technique which is a bit more advanced and I didn't really use at all in the first run, but it's called vectoring. So next, I learned all 7 levels in World 2, and although I still wasn't very good, I was at least slowly improving. Now, if you've ever played this game, you might remember the absurd amount of auto-scrollers in this game. And if you don't know what an auto-scroller means, all they are levels where the camera moves by itself, and you have to stay within the boundaries of the camera. So you can't actually really go fast in these levels because you have to wait for the level to move. There's actually a lot of these auto-scrollers in the run, which sucks because they take so much time and there's absolutely no way to skip them. But after we get through the World 2 auto-scroller and this sorry excuse for a boss fight, we make it to the first really interesting level of the speedrun, which is level 3-1. If you get this propeller, you can go to this layer of ice, and if you go at it with speed and then spam the crouch button, you can build up some insane speed and fly over this gap. Now, believe it or not, I actually managed to do this first try, and just look how happy I was. Oh shoot! Oh! I'm actually cracked at the game. Scattered throughout the worlds, there are mystery houses and Toad levels. Mystery houses will give you 5 or 10 green stars, depending on which one it is, and Toad levels will give you 5 green stars. These levels are great as they are a very quick, easy, and great way to collect green stars. In the mystery houses, you have 10 seconds to complete a room, and then you get a green star when you complete the room, and then you go to the next. In Captain Toad levels, it's kind of like a puzzle level, as you have to go through the level with Captain Toad and he can't jump at all. But these levels are a nice break from some of the difficult levels later in the run, such as level 3-7, where you do some really cool skips with Peach. This level took me a lot of attempts to get down, but after a while I felt pretty consistent with it. In the boss of World 3, there's an auto-scroller again, but this auto-scroller can actually be made a bit faster. If you jump back and forth between trains, the camera moves forward quicker, saving lots of time. Unfortunately, I was too bad at the game and could not actually do this trick, so I decided to just give it up for now. In World 4, the beginner's guide, might I say, showed me the absolutely craziest skip of all time. Like, look at this. How was a beginner supposed to do this? So there was no way I was able to do this skip, so I just didn't even try. Now, just like World 1, there's a secret pipe in level 4-2, and we can use it to skip straight to World 5. Now, for the rest of the run, World 5, 6, 7, and 8, there are actually just no skips, so we just go through each level as quickly as we can. World 5 has some fun levels, but nothing really too interesting to talk about. The same also goes for World 6 and for World 7. I'll talk about these worlds more later in the video, but for now, there's not really any reason to. Now, the final world is World 8, and it's the longest of all, but surprisingly, it's actually fairly easy. That is, unless you're going for the insane skip in the ghost house level. Like, look at this. How the heck is this supposed to be possible for a beginner? I actually have just no clue at all, but obviously I will not be doing that. But finally, we're at the final level of the game, which is mostly an auto-scroller, which is actually good because it means it's really easy, which means you most definitely should not choke. There actually is a cool auto-scroller skip, which I did not learn at first because I thought it would be really difficult, but it turns out it actually wasn't that hard, and you'll see what I'm talking about later on day 4. But we finally finished learning the run, and it only took about 4.5 hours, and that was the end of the first day. On day 2, I could have done a speedrun, but I decided to practice some more. And let me just say, I am really glad that I did. I went and beat the entire game without using the route so that I could try to see if I could do it all by memory. And I ended up forgetting some levels, and when I realized I didn't have enough stars to unlock the final level, I had to go back and complete them. This practice run also taught me something that makes Super Mario 3D World speedrunning way more annoying than you might think it would be, and that is the cat power-up. Now, the cat power-up is extremely useful in the speedruns, as you can use it to climb up walls, swipe enemies, stall in the air, and if you use it to dive into the ground and then jump quickly after, you can gain a lot of momentum. So as you can tell, this power-up is crucial in speedruns. But the only problem is that if you get hit with a cat power-up, you lose it. So basically, in order to do the best possible speedrun, you pretty much just have to never take damage. Now, you can actually hold an extra cat power-up in your inventory, but after you lose that one, then you're out of luck. You can luckily get these cat power-ups back, but they are not in every single level. They are only in a few very limited levels. With that complete though, it was finally time for me to start my very first ever Super Mario 3D World speedrun. Here it was finally time to put my practice to the test. My goal for this run was to achieve a sub 2-hour time. This wouldn't be fast enough to be a top 100 run, as you need around a 152, but it was a good goal for my first run. So I started the run and it was going pretty smoothly. We finished 1-1 and 1-2 with no issues. Then I cruised through World 2 with no issues either. Now, when I say no issues, I mean like no big issues, such as dying. My movement was obviously really bad as I was still really new to speedrunning, but overall the levels went decently well. At level 3-1, I nailed the cool skip, and then I died on probably the easiest level of all time. No, what? It didn't float. It didn't let me float. So I lost lots of time from that, and I also lost one of my cat power-ups, but luckily I had another one. In level 4-1 there are cat power-ups, so I collected one of them, and then I lost it. And then at the time, I didn't even realize that there was another cat power-up later in the level. So I literally just played through the entirety of World 4 and half of World 5 without a cat power-up, which sadly lost me minutes of time. It wasn't all bad though, because in the Sprawling Savannah level, I was able to get another cat power-up, which I then proceeded to lose in the very next level. Now I was onto the boss level, and you actually need a cat power-up in order to get a green star. So I went to this mushroom house and got one from there, which wasted like a minute. But then it turns out that there are cat power-ups in the level, and I didn't know about that before. So I just wasted a minute of time for nothing. Anyways, World 6 was really good, as it's a very easy world because there are just a couple of auto-scrollers, and overall all the levels are just very easy. Well, it was all good except for when I lost my only cat power-up to frickin' Boom Boom. And unfortunately, there's only one single cat power-up to get in all of World 7. So I basically had to go through the whole world with no cat power-up again. So World 7 was really slow, but we did manage to get this cool skip, even without the cat power-up. Now, in the final level of World 7, you actually need a cat power-up to get a green star. So luckily, I was able to get one for that star and finish off World 7. Now, I know I'm going through this run like really fast, but I want to wait off until one of my better runs before I go more in depth on a lot of the levels. But now it was time for the final world, World 8. World 8 is all really easy except for this level where you have to stay in this moving block that goes over lava. But other than that, we cruised through the rest of the world until we were at the final level of the game. And I ended up killing Meowser at 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 18 seconds. But unfortunately, that's not actually the end of the speedrun. You have to wait for a long cutscene and then go through this clear pipe and then make your way to the flagpole and then watch another short cutscene and then finally grab the flagpole, and that's when the timer ends. And in a tragic ending, I finished my first Super Mario 3D World speedrun in 2 hours and 16 seconds, just a few seconds off of my goal. So I was kind of stupid and I actually forgot to record day 4, but it was one of the most important days of the entire challenge. So after last day's run, I realized that I needed to make some big changes because if I wanted to reach my goal of top 100, I would have to shave off 8 minutes from my last run. So I went through each level again, being extremely deliberate this time. One thing that I also made sure to practice that had one of the biggest impacts was not losing my cat power up, because that ended up losing me so much time last run. Even with fixing this problem and refining my movement a lot, I still knew it would not be enough to reach my goal, so I had to change something else. So do you remember those insane strats I saw when learning the speedrun and I said they were way too hard? Well, I decided to learn every single one of those strats. This took quite a long time, as I still wasn't great at the game, and these strats were a lot more difficult than anything I had ever done in this game. But after about an hour, I felt relatively confident with each one of the skips, and then I was really excited to start my second run the next day. Here we go. It was time to finally put together all my new strats, see if I could get a time of 1:52:40 in order to get top 100. Now, I'm going to go a lot more in depth in explaining this run, so strap in, because this might take a while. So we started the game, and honestly I don't need to explain the first 2 levels as they are really easy, but then in level 2-1, I decided to use Luigi instead of Peach. Remember the vectoring I talked about earlier? I tried to do that in this level, and the keyword here is tried. I mean, I guess it kinda worked, because I was moving pretty fast here, but it definitely could have been improved. Also, sorry about the subscription notifications on screen. Well, I guess now wouldn't be a terrible time to say that I have a Twitch channel where I literally do everything you see on this YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out if you like, the link is in the description. Anyways, in this mystery house, I do this cool little strat to kill the birds quickly, and I also know where the fire bros are going, so I can kill them very quickly as well. Then in this ghost house in World 3, I also decided to use Luigi instead, and it definitely made it way faster. Most of this level is really just running and jumping along the path, so Luigi definitely helped make this level a lot faster. Now level 3-5 is a water level, so there's basically nothing to explain here. In Switchboard Falls, we hit this really clean skip using cat momentum and cat stalling and floating. Then we do another cool skip to collect this green star and then finish off the level. Before you can get to World 4, you actually have to fight this boss, Histocrat. And normally you're supposed to climb up these little snake looking things and then kill him. But you can just completely cheese it like this. In 4-1, I went for the skip where you actually have to lose one of your cat power-ups in order to do it. But I kind of shanked it and I actually ended up losing both of them. Which sucked because that meant I couldn't do the skip that I had practiced for because I had no cat power-up. So we just had to do it the casual way. In the run after World 4, you get a nice little break because you have to do this Captain Toad level, and then you go over here, enter this pipe, and then enter this pipe, which takes you all the way back to World 1, and then you can do another Captain Toad level. Now, the first level in World 5 is honestly probably one of my favorite levels in the entire game. You start out on this nice little beach, and you go around and you collect 5 key coins in order to open the mystery box. Then you take the mystery box, and then you go in this pipe, and then you get a ride Plessy and have a nice pleasant ride to the end of the level. 5-7 is also a really fun level. First, you jump over this gap and climb up the wall. Then you use the spring to grab this green star. Then you go to this mystery box and use the cat power up to snap this green star quickly. Then you take this spring and use it to climb up this wall and collect this star. Then finally you climb up the wall to finish the level, unless you're stupid like me and get hit at the very end and fall down. Can't just finish out a level. That was going so good and then that happens. Now I want to take a minute to talk about level 6-2. This level is so easy that it's like stupidly hard, if you know what I mean. Mainly because there's these stupid, absolutely horrendous, annoying bully guys and they're just so difficult to kill for whatever reason. Like, these things actually just never cooperate, and you can't just skip them either, because you need to kill them in order to get a green star, and you need to kill them in order to open a mystery box in order to complete the level. So it's just so bad, the level, and I can't even explain why, because it's so easy, but it's also just not, and it's terrible, and I want to cry. Anyways, this mystery house in World 6 has to be one of the most broken levels in the entire game. Normally you have to throw these baseballs and have them hit things in order to complete the rooms, but you can basically just cheese all of it by using the motion control pointer. Like, look at how quickly you can just do all of these rooms. Now, I'm not going to talk about World 7 in this run, and you'll see why later on, but in World 8, we have the best first level because there are cat power-ups. So we ended up doing this cool skip at the end and finished the level with 2 cat power-ups. And after a couple of easy levels, it was time for the highlight of the run, the ghost house level. I started off the level by doing a big boy jump to make it across this gap. Then I jumped and churned the corner to land on this platform. And to then make it across to the door. But now, it was time for the hardest part. I did a cat dive into a jump to gain momentum. Then I get 2 swipes in the air to gain extra distance. And then I used Peach's float to extend it and gain even more distance. Then I grabbed the wall, and it was just a matter of me not missing these lanterns and dying. So we slowly made our way across each lantern. And boom! We nailed it on the first try. I was extremely happy after that, let me say. And after this level, the run really is not too bad overall. We have this really easy mystery house level where you just use cat suits. And then we have this level with this really cool skip with Tanuki Luigi. You can actually use the momentum from this moving block to gain lots of speed and cross this big gap of lava to save lots of time. After that, we have 2 little mini bosses, and then it's time for the final boss. I also learned how to do the auto scroller skip, and it's actually a lot easier than it might seem. All you have to do is climb straight up at around this part of the wall, and then when you feel a vibration, it means you landed on the cloud. So you literally just keep climbing straight up, and when you feel a vibration, you just jump and keep climbing up, and then eventually you'll skip the auto scroller. Oh my goodness, we got it! Ah! And finally after that, we beat the game in 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 32 seconds. This wasn't top 100, but I was happy with it, as I saved around 5 minutes from my previous time. And I knew that there were a lot of mistakes, which meant that there would be lots of time save in the next run. And lots of time save there was. Going into day 6, I was pretty scared because I knew that if I didn't get top 100 today, then I would have a lot of pressure on me to get it the next day. And also, I'm a busy man, so I would only have time for 1 run each day. So I really needed to not choke this run. So we started the run and it was going super well. We absolutely zoomed through the first 3 worlds. I had 0 deaths, I never took damage, I had a relatively good movement, and I nailed all of the skips. Then it was time for World 4, which didn't go so well last run. And believe it or not, I actually nailed the damage boost skip in 4-1 this time. I did it! I've never done this skip in a run! After that, we beat the next 2 levels, and then we made it to probably the hardest level of the run for me. And this time I actually had a cat power up so we could do the skip. The start of the level was going really well, and then it was time for the skip. That's the first part. No, I'm an idiot! Why did I dive? Luckily, I was still able to get it the second try, so it wasn't as much of a time loss as it could have been. Now, on a good note, World 5 was insanely fast, and I did not really mess up anything. And after World 5, I was actually a whole minute and a half ahead of the pace I needed to be on to get top 100. But then, in level 6-2, I was an absolute fool and died twice. Somehow, after World 6, I was still like 30 seconds ahead of pace though. And then came World 7. Now, I've never had trouble with World 7, ever. Like, it's always been fine in my speedruns. But then for this run, for some reason, I just had a terrible time. So I did the first level fine. But then in the next level, Red Hot Run, this happened, which lost me around 50 seconds. So yeah, that's great. But then in the next level, I also died. And if that wasn't bad enough, I somehow died in this boss, which is a complete joke. Then in the next level, which has the only cat power up in World 7, I basically just instantly lost it. That wasn't it though, because I actually don't even know how, but I even managed to mess up the Captain Toad level, which is basically completely free. And finally, at the boss level, you need a cat power up to get this green star, but I was stupid and tried to get it without a cat power up. Well, it actually is possible to get without a cat power up, but just really difficult. So I wasted like a minute trying to get it, and then I gave up because I knew there was a green star in a later level that I could just get. So after all that, I went from being 30 seconds ahead of pace to being 2.5 minutes behind pace. I still believed in the run though. So in World 8, I put together all my focus and played my best World 8 yet. But unfortunately, it still was not enough, and I finished the game with a time of 1:53.42. This was a PB, but it wasn't what I was looking for. And now I only had one more day and one more run to achieve this goal. Everything I had worked for led up to this final day, day 7. And here we are, the finale. Everything I had spent the entire week doing led up to this one final moment. All I needed to do was not choke. I had spent so much time this past week going from a complete beginner to a pro. Also, shout out to Noteblock because this song is an absolute banger. And in classic fashion, I missed the flagpole. That's time. 151.29. Let's go. Let's freaking go, dude. That's top 100. Let's see where that puts me on the leaderboards. That puts me at 91st. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I finally managed to not choke a run, and it was on the final day. Real talk, this game was so much fun to speedrun, and I believe it's super underrated in the community. So hopefully this video can shed some light on it. Also, if you want to check out the full speedrun, make sure to click the link in the description. Thanks for those who stuck around till the end. Until next time.